Welcome to Buckeyes Tomorrow Morning for Monday, October 10th. I'm your host, Tom Orr. The Iowa game is in 12 days, the game against Michigan in 47 days. Ohio State's 2022 regular season, believe it or not, is now halfway over. The Buckeyes roll into their off week with a 6-0 record, coming off a 49-20 win over Michigan State that was, let's be honest, probably not as close as the score would indicate. Today, you're going to be hearing directly from the Buckeyes, as well as a little from Michigan State head coach Mel Tucker from after the game. We're going to start with Ohio State head coach Ryan Day, though. His offense ranks number one in the nation at 48.8 points per game. That is 2 points better than second-place Tennessee, and they have done all of this despite not having Jackson Smith and Jigba for most of the season, having plenty of other key guys like Mayan Williams and TreVeyon Henderson and Julian Fleming and others miss time as well. So, have they had to get creative with their play calling without all those guys in the lineup?
It all starts with the running game. And when you're running the ball well, then it certainly opens up a lot of different things. And I give our offensive staff a lot of credit. And it's starts off with Kevin Wilson. Kevin Wilson is one of the best offensive minds in college football and continues to come up with great game plans in that meeting room with Brian Hartline and Tony Alford. You think about some of the guys we have in that room, Justin Fry. We got some really bright minds in there. So you go in there and you just come up with different ideas, and the best idea wins. But it all starts with the physicality up front and running the football effectively, and that opens up everything else.
Now, that Michigan State game was the first road game of the year for the Buckeyes, so that presented something of a new challenge. And, the stadium was pretty much full, and it did get really loud in there briefly after an early pick six tied the game at 7-all. But Day said after the game he was really happy with how his team responded to that challenge.
It didn't exactly start the way we wanted it on offense, and nobody panicked at all. I thought the way the defense played, Lathan got the early interception, and just across the board, we gave up a couple things on the outside and a couple penalties, but after that, and you look at it, they did a great job of stopping the run. I thought defensive line was strong. Tommy and the linebackers were excellent. Just across the board, our guys just played strong, and that. When you have that type of back and forth and that balance on offense and defense, and they play against each other, you can see what we did there in the first half. And I thought, for the first half of that third quarter as well, and even maybe into the end of that third quarter, I just think overall we played good football on the road. Certainly not perfect. And then it got a little sloppy in the fourth quarter, but we just wanted to get some guys out of the game and make sure that we got to the bye week as healthy as we could. Looking forward to getting to the bye week. Looking forward to getting guys healthy and reflecting on the things that we did well in the first 6 games, but also projecting where we need to be and where we need to go. So great to get this win on the road and get into the bye week.
Without Mayan Williams, TreVeyon Henderson handled the bulk of the running back duties. He finished with 119 yards on 19 carries and a touchdown. Now, he left the game after suffering an injury just after halftime, but Day said that was more of a precautionary thing than anything else.
If it was a different game, he probably would have come back in. Just out of abundance of caution, we just decided to hold him out. We didn't feel like we needed to use him at that point. But I thought he ran well. 19 carries, 119 yards. I thought he ran hard. I thought, again, the offensive line played strong. Tight ends, again, times unsung heroes. These guys are working really hard on the edge, and Cade is just a really good football player. But Trey ran hard today. It was good to see him back after last week.
One of the interesting wrinkles that on Saturday that sort of came out of that TreVeyon Henderson injury was Xavier Johnson getting carries at running back. And now he had played there before in his OSU career, but had moved full-time to the wide receiver position since then. And you probably remember him having that big touchdown catch against Notre Dame in the season opener. Now, with Mayan Williams and Evan Pryor out, Henderson sitting out the second half, that left just true freshman Dallin Hayden and walk-on T.C. Caffey. So that also meant a chance for Johnson to get a few carries as well, and to work in guys like Emeka Egbuka in that run game as well.
We tried to be a little creative going into this game with some of the things that we did, and held some things, but tried to do a couple different. And I thought Xavier ran the ball hard. He did a nice job on some of those runs. He's a weapon for us. You saw it in the Notre Dame game. You could see it today. He's a good player. But across the board, I thought that unit played well today. Obviously Marvin made some amazing catches, but Emeka plays tough. He catches the ball, he and Julian over the middle, and takes some of those shots, but keeps going. Warriors. And I'm proud of the way those guys played.
C.J. Stroud had another C.J. Stroud day, 21 for 26, 361 yards, 6 touchdowns. He also made a completely insane throw to Marvin Harrison Jr. at one point, dropping the ball into a tiny window that seemed really impossible, honestly. And he did have that one pick six early in the game and a miscommunication between Stroud and Egbuka. but Day was very happy with what he saw from his quarterback.
Well, yeah, it was a little bit of a miscommunication there. I could have done a better job helping the two of them, but I thought the best thing was it was like nothing ever happened. We just kept rolling, and that shows confidence and proud of those guys the way that they played. But yeah, that was a tremendous catch by Marvin. I mean, I was amazed. It was like he jumped up and caught it by his ankles. I mean, it was just an acrobatic catch by just a tremendously talented player. So it was fun to watch him out there. And then, yeah, I mean, what can you say about somebody who's throwing the ball like that in 20-mile-an-hour wind? At least it seemed like it was. I mean, it was blowing it a couple of times, and for him to throw it that accurately, that was really well done on the road. It just was clicking. You could see the timing. He was able to step in the pocket. A big part of that is the protection. Our offensive line did a good job giving him a good pocket. And when you do that, he can do some damage. And I thought he embraced the game plan, worked it, had a good thought process the whole game, had a good look in his eye. To throw, was he 21 to 26? That was the 361 and 6 touchdowns. That's one heck of a day on the road. So, especially, at a program as proud as Michigan State and coming in here as our first road game, big day for CJ.
The Buckeyes scored touchdowns on 7 of their first 8 drives of the game and limited the Spartans to just 1 touchdown from their offense before garbage time anyway. Still, there were some questions about individual performances or plays. So, does Day mind that level of nitpicking?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And that's a good thing. We get a little defensive because, it seems nitpicky at times, but you know what? We want to be the best in the country. That's our goal. And we want to challenge to be the best in the country. So yeah, we have to figure out how we can get better in different areas. And we're not just going to sit here and say, oh, it was a great game. We're good. No, we're not. No, we have to keep building and keep growing. And that's the point that we have to make sure that we address here during the bye week. Okay, here's what we did. These are the past 6 games. They don't mean a thing moving forward. I think you can see what we're capable of, and that's exciting. But any given Saturday, anything can happen. And I'm not sure what happened today in college football, but I'm sure there were some crazy things. I don't know. But, these guys are still 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old players. And the competitive stamina is the angle that we've been taking just to bring it every single week. And I think you're seeing some of that.
Now, while it was a lot of good times and happy stories on the Ohio State side of the divider wall in the Michigan State Press Center, things were not quite so fun at the Michigan State press conference next door. Mel Tucker just signed a $95 million extension over the offseason. His team is just 2-4 right now on a 4-game losing streak. He was asked about the challenge of just trying to prepare your team to face an offense as talented as Ohio State's.
Yeah, I mean, when the matchups are a challenge, obviously. So that's the biggest thing. The one-on-one matchups, that's the biggest thing because they put pressure on you at every position. And they have a really good quarterback who's very, very accurate with the ball. So he can put the ball places where a lot of guys can't put it there on a consistent basis. So he doesn't need a lot of room. You have to be perfect.
Well, it's probably safe to say that Michigan State is out of the Big Ten and national championship race at this point, but the Buckeyes very much in the middle of both of those. Buckeyes stayed at number 3 in the poll that came out on Saturday. Well, it is probably safe to say that Michigan State is out of the Big Ten and national championship race. Ohio State, though, very much in the picture for both of those. They will head into this week off and then come back to face Iowa on Saturday, October 22nd at the Horseshoe before their next big road challenge, October 29th at Penn State. Kind of looking forward to that one. We have not been to a Penn State game with a crowd for about 4 years, and those are usually pretty entertaining games. So we'll be looking forward to that. And there should be a lot of stuff to talk about as Ohio State heads into this week off. Seems like everyone, the health of the team is, as much drama as there's been around the health of the team, it seems like they're sort of on track to get a lot of those guys back in the coming weeks. So should be a very fun second half of the regular season for Ohio State fans, and then potentially 2 to 3 more games after that. So should be a great time to be a member at BuckeyeHuddle.com. We have a fantastic team of insiders. Tony Grudem and Kevin Newton and I all cover the team. Mark Givler and Alex Gleitman cover recruiting. And we have Ross Fulton, Justin Whitlatch, and Devin Radcliffe on X's and O's. We have everything covered from every angle. So sign up today at BuckeyeHuddle.com. Get a fantastic look at the ins and outs of every element of Ohio State football during what should be a very fun and very memorable rest of the fall, I would say. So that'll do it for today. Thank you guys all for joining us. Have a great day. We'll talk to you tomorrow.